We are in this series called In the Garden, and the whole idea, if you guys weren't able to be here last week or watch it on YouTube, listen on a podcast, which I would encourage you to do any of the weeks that you feel like you missed it, you want to go back to it, or you want to share it with somebody, maybe something rang true to you in your life. I want to encourage you, go and listen to those. But we talked this idea that God wants us to be in this garden with him. We get a picture in the beginning of the Bible, and then we get a picture at the end of the Bible of this place where heaven and earth meet, and that is where we live. Our ultimate destination is not heaven. It's actually the garden. That is what we were created for. Our origin is the garden. We weren't created in heaven and then brought down. This is where we go. And so God has every intention to bring us to that place. And then we get this radical message of Jesus who says, hey, the garden is now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to just be like a passive observer of your faith life. Like you can actively bring the garden now. And what that looks like is what we're doing in this room right now, which is great. Right now, if you didn't know, you are in the garden. You're dwelling in the place in which he exists, where heaven and earth mix together. Here's what that can look like: community. You came in and hopefully somebody said hi to you and acknowledged your existence. Woo. Turns out in the garden, you're not invisible. You're not lonely. God very intentionally goes, it's not good for man to be alone. So he puts another person there. But here's another thing that we do in the garden. You are with him both in prayer and worship and communication. We get an image of God walking in the garden with Adam and Eve. It was this beautiful opportunity that we have with God. Right now, we don't live automatically in that place. So what we have to do is do our part, because we live outside of the place where heaven and earth overlap. And so now we got to work the garden. Gardeners in here, what's the worst part about gardening? Waiting. Right? It's really not the tilling and the planting. Those are annoyances for some. The worst part is you put in a ton of work and you don't see the fruit until later. And so there is a waiting, and you learn, if you love to garden, you love to see flowers, you love to plant fruits and vegetables, you actually learn to enjoy the waiting process. You actually learn to enjoy, and you prepare and you plan. You go, oh, I can't wait till these jalapenos come in, because I'm going to, Sam, like, you made some jalapeno pickles for us that we have. And I love, like, when we make chicken sandwiches, I love putting those pickles on there. Any excuse to put pickles on stuff. Like you think about that. You're like, oh, I can't wait to make this. I can't wait to do that. In the same way, we have this cool opportunity in front of us where we go, all right, I'm going to church. I'm praying. I'm believing. I'm doing stuff. I'm doing the right stuff. I can't wait to see what God does with this. I can't wait to see the recipe I get to put together. And right now, you might be in a season where you're single and you're trying to figure out, hey, do I have a partner in my future? Do I have that? And what you can do is begin planting the seeds of the type of person you want to be when you're in that relationship. God's going to do his part and hopefully bring you a person who's also on that same journey. And in fact, I'm going to say it's almost a guarantee, because you're going to look at the fruit of the person's life and go, that doesn't match my fruit. And I'm not looking to bring insects and parasites and fire ants into my garden. Okay, you hearing me? Like, think of how many arguments you would avoid if you figured that out beforehand. Here's the thing. We're perfectly imperfect. And so those things still exist. We are not in the complete garden. So we're going to slip up. We're going to fail. This is where God's grace comes in hand. And so today we're going to talk about, in Galatians 5, we get some words from Paul on when you are doing this garden stuff. What should you expect? Like when you are planting, when you are doing this stuff, what type of fruit should you see? He makes it really clear. It says love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. He follows it up with this really beautiful phrase, against such things, there is no law. No law. In fact, this isn't going to be on the screen, but on Galatians 4, I'm going to flip this open here. He brings an idea of this in Galatians 4:23. He says, before the way of faith in Christ Jesus was available to us, we were placed under guard by the law. We were kept in protective custody, so to speak, until the way of faith was revealed. Let me put it another way. The law was our guardian until Christ came. It protected us until we could be made right with God through faith. And now that the way of faith has come, we no longer need the law as our guardian. We no longer need these restrictions of like, hey, if you didn't do this, slap on the hand, but naughty, okay? Now I'm going to take all your fruit away. He says, no, the promise of Jesus and the way of life of Jesus, doing as he did, being with him, it actually removes the barrier of our humanity getting in the way of what God wants for us. So you can be imperfect and be on this journey in the garden. What good news, great, right? You know, some days you just wake up cranky. Maybe that's just me. So today, we're going to start on the fruit of faithfulness. Faithfulness. Anybody upset I didn't start with love? Because that's the order. It goes in love, joy, peace. It doesn't start with faithfulness. There's a reason for that. By the way, we don't just wing messages up here. And I know Pastor Natalie is really talented, but there is some planning involved, believe it or not. And here's the thing. I think faithfulness should be like a very like first fruit that you see. Like if you are doing the practices, if you're coming to church on a regular basis, you should see yourself becoming a more faithful person. Right? This, by the way, this is how everything works. Almost like God created everything. And this was the order he designed stuff in. If you do this all the time, you will get this. Right? Good and bad. Okay? If you drink all the time, you will probably have some liver problems. Among maybe potentially other things, depending on your genetic makeup. Right? But also go good, okay? Don't be negative. If you are a friend and a consistent friend, when you need a friend, you will get a friend. This is all that faithfulness is. I was thinking, Pastor Natalie, as she was kind of in our worship team, we're up here in this song about God moving mountains. And this actually being a sign of his faithfulness is that he moves what seems like impossible things out of the way. And I don't know, just to kind of, I just want to give some direction maybe to some people here today. Maybe, I love what you said, Pastor Natalie, maybe a perspective shift right here. Right now, you might feel like you're in a valley, meaning like it's dark. It's just like, you know, like David, he brings this analogy of the valley. Although I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, he says, I will fear no evil. Your rod and your staff guide me and protect me. You know, it's like that's, and maybe you feel like either, maybe you went back to work this week and you're like, oh, the valley. You know, maybe you're in a relationship or some hard times have really hit you recently, and it just feels like you're in the valley. It just feels like it's dark and feels like it's difficult. I lived in Utah for a little bit, and in the area, Salt Lake City, I lived in suburbs of Salt Lake City. It's a valley that we live in. And here's one of the cool things. I just want, again, perspective shift right here. At one point in the growth of the earth, there was an earthquake that shifted tectonic plates and moved these rocks aside from each other, and that is what created the valley, meaning that there is mountains on this side and mountains on the outside, and then there's a way in and out, and it's a clear way. Could the valley that you're in right now be the fact that God has moved mountains out of the way, and now you just need to move forward? And often the shadow of the mountain that God moved is the only thing that you're looking at, and not the fact that he moved it. So, in the garden, we move. And we do things, and to be faithful in that movement. Here's the thing, is if I, more than some of the other things that are in relationships, if I was unfaithful to my wife, that would be, it would be unforgivable to the point in which I wasn't even admitting that I did something wrong. It would be wrong. Faithfulness is key. There's something deep within us that goes, faithfulness needs to be the determining factor of your seriousness. Are you going to move forward? Are you going to do the right thing? Are you going to be who God called you to be? Be faithful. Here's what I want to put this to you guys. Faithfulness is a decision, not a given. A given. You are going to breathe. Until it becomes too difficult that maybe isn't an option anymore, right? Then you have to make a decision to breathe. Like if you sucked in seawater when you're scuba diving, the worst thing, by the way. You ever do that, scuba dive? You go too far and then it goes down the pipe and you're like, oh my gosh, who made this? Then you got to make a decision to breathe, right? Like that's so. But then, for faithfulness, it is a constant decision. It is. I don't like it that it's that way. But if Jerry Springer taught us anything. Something in humanity decides that we do not want to be faithful. Like whatever it is, we're like, there's this like DNA thing in us that just goes like, but what if I cheated? What if I did this? And it's hopefully not your first thought. Again, some journey stuff that we could go on together on that. But there's just something there. It's just a weirdness. And maybe it's not a relationship. Maybe it's just like cutting corners, like at your job, or showing up late, or you are a person who made a promise and then didn't follow through on that promise. Right? Some things hey, I'm getting a birthday party together, and then the birthday party comes, and then you're like, I didn't put it on the calendar. And this is try to remove a little bit of the guilt trip, but just go this is a sign of something we need to work on, which is, are you going to do what you said you're going to do? As we were thinking about this series, what we wanted to do was, just as like a handle for some things, compare each of the fruits of the Spirit to an actual fruit. So for faithfulness, I chose an orange. That's weird, right? All of these are going to be weird. Some of you are going to go I totally get that one, and then some of you are like, Pastor Eric, you're going to have to show up that week. We will make it work. Oranges are a really interesting fruit. Fruits are good for you, if you didn't know, because they have natural vitamins and things like that. What is the vitamin that's in fruit that's great? It's vitamin C. Isn't that vitamin? We all know that. Thanks school system. Something worked. If you didn't know, your body can make vitamins within it. It can make vitamins B and D and K and B7, and it can't make vitamin C. Your body, unless you take vitamin C, can't make it. Isn't that crazy? So, an orange holds 100% of what health professionals say is your recommended daily value of vitamin C. Just one orange. If you ate an orange a day, you would have 100% of that. What's cool is other foods and things have vitamin C, so chill out. It's not that if you don't eat oranges, you're gonna, die, or I don't know. But why is it important? Vitamin C is great. It helps with your immune system. It supports antibodies. It makes your health strong. But here's one of the things. Did anybody do the emergency packets whenever you're not? Yes, because vitamin C helps you like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to your pharmacy. It's these little powder tablets that you put in. You mix it up, and it's a boost of vitamin C in your system. You will start to feel better within the next 30 minutes. Not fixed, okay? Better. And here's what I've noticed about it. Like, we have products like Emergency because we really don't take vitamin C until you need it. Okay, like I don't take I don't eat oranges on a regular basis, and I don't take like a vitamin C vitamin, but I'm nearing the age in which I need to start having a vitamin. Get some of that fish oil that y'all are talking about all the time. I don't know. But when I'm filled with useless knowledge, so whenever I was thinking and praying about faithfulness, I felt like, oh, oranges. Like, because vitamin C and what oranges can represent for us is faith. But often, we don't decide that we need to practice faith or have faith until we need it. And so then we're like really sick, life, physically, mentally, spiritually, and we go, I got to get some vitamin C. I'm going to go to church. And then you go to church and you go, oh, 30 minutes within worship, or Pastor Aeric or Pastor Natalie preached a message, and I'm starting to feel a lot better. And then, like, you don't take any more vitamin C after that. And then you're like, well, I got my little vitamin C boost. Now I don't need to go to church next week. You're going to get sick. This is just the plain, like, fact of this stuff. And so some of the progression, or the like how it feels like our relationship with God feels really slow. How often are you taking vitamin C? How often are you practicing your faith? How often are you faithful? I'm going to be really cheesy here. I got some vitamin C's of faith. You ready for them? Vitamin C's. Here's what I think are the vitamin C's of faith, and it is committed and consistent. Can you guys say committed? Committed. Can you say consistent? Consistent. Who are you when no one is watching? Are you the same person? Both in the masking and, you're at work and you're like, hey, Bob, how's it going? Had a good weekend. And then, then your actual weekend was crap. Like, but then also, like, you have that smiley face, and then behind the scenes, you're all by yourself. Hey, I see you're going through a hard time. Do you need anything? No, I'm good. I got a great support system. I'm doing good, Pastor. And you go home, you're not doing good. And there's contributing factors of why you wouldn't ask for help, and that's a whole different message for a whole different time. But I want to encourage you to practice faithfulness and learn to be consistent. One of the things I hate about oranges is sometimes it feels like the lottery a little bit. Anybody got a dry orange when you were hoping to get, okay, it's kind of the worst, right? And then if you're like talking to people and like peeling the orange, and then, and then you like take a bite and you don't realize it's dry, and then put a dry orange in your mouth, that's a few times that you're allowed to swear. Stub your toe, car crash, dry oranges, okay? I'm joking, but for anybody doing that. So here's what is difficult about that is you don't know the orange is dry until you pull back the peel. And it's these citrus fruits. It's like bait and switch, all right? I'm feeling real confident. Anybody you see someone at like the Walmart produce and they're like massaging the fruits, going like they know, like, oh yeah, yes, okay, yeah, I'm unless it's like an abuela, like nobody knows, okay, like. When I just make sure, I wait until I see someone Hispanic, and then I look at the ones they're putting down and the ones they're picking up, and I'm like, okay, that's a good mango. That's right. They don't teach white people that, okay? Whatever was in the DNA just doesn't come up. We don't know how to make grits. We don't know what, how to like do fruits but mac and cheese, we got you. It's some mac and cheese, the Kraft kind, okay? The box, yeah, exactly. Yeah, K Kraft. It's the inconsistency sometimes, and it's kind of rare. Like most of the time, you get like a bag of oranges, they're gonna be perfectly fine. Like, but that one, it feels like it ruins the whole thing, right? Like it feels like oh, especially if you packed it in your lunchbox. Like it's the only fruit you have. You're really hoping for it. Like, and I don't know. Like that, the consistency I find is really, really important. And humans are worse than oranges. Like if there's one thing that we can say about ourselves is that we're consistently inconsistent. Like the biggest thing we're pretty consistent on is like, don't count on me. And even if like, hey, I've told you you should count on me. Give, high voice. Give me a little wiggle room here. Right, which I'm all about. I'm listen, as a consistently inconsistent person, give me some wiggle room in here. Give me some grace. Our perfectionists in the room, God bless you. Like you got a journey ahead of you, like on this. But like, if even if the orange is only somewhat dry, like how often are we just going like, oh, like, well, I guess I'm just going to write off oranges. Like I'm just going to kind of put this off. Here's one of the things about being a faithful person is being a consistent person. What we talk about is here at Dwell is the whole pressure that existed in church that still kind of exists, which is like every day, every time, you got to be there Sundays, Wednesdays, different groups, like all this stuff. I'm like, ugh, exhausting. Like there's a lot that comes with that. But here's one of the things we say, what can you be consistent with? So some people don't even start a journey of tithe, meaning just giving to the community that you're part of so we can grow and continue and flourish and all of that good stuff. Because you're like, I can't do $100 a week or a month or whatever it is. What can you be consistent with? If you want to develop faithfulness, you want to be a faithful person, you got to practice that. So God sets up systems, not because the church is greedy, even though the church has proven to be greedy sometimes, but what it is, the whole core of it is, can you consistently have this habit of service and generosity? He's not after your pocketbook, he's after your heart. Let's do the same thing, showing up to church, showing up to life group, being there for a friend. If you say you're going to visit them in the hospital, show up, be there, do it. You hearing me? Like, I think we lost the art of making an appearance. That sometimes, like, we think we got to do, when we do stuff, we got to do it all 100. Can I just be honest? Like, sometimes, like, I do hospital visits for people in our church. Some of them, I have the opportunity to be there for a while. Some of them, I come in, I pray, I ask them if they need anything, and I get out. That's okay. But what I want people to know is, this is what I can do. And I'm consistent in it. If I say I'm going to be able to be there in the hospital, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there. We need to move. Okay, so Jesus talks about this. Good. It's not just Pastor Aeric, okay? Matthew 25, he tells a story of a parable of servants. He gives the servants stuff that they're in charge of. He says, I need you to be faithful with this amount of money while I'm gone. When I come back, I'm going to ask what you did with this money. And to each of the servants who do stuff right, he says this phrase, well done, my good and faithful servant. Not my good and generous, not my good and prayerful, not my good and miracle worker, not my good and rich, not my good and healthy, not my good, it's good and faithful. You are consistent. You have been faithful in handing this small amount. So now, cause and effect. Did this, now this. I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. See, you guys heard the responsibility as more work, and God says the responsibility is more blessing. Because you were faithful with the little. You were faithful with the small amounts. Now I know if I gave you a big amount, what could you do with that? I'm excited to see the recipe that comes from this fruit right here. I want to see the things that are going to be good. Are you faithful to what God has given you? And you might look at different parts of your life and go like, I don't feel like God gave me a lot right here. He probably didn't. But he did give you a lot in other areas. Some of the problem is we just haven't gardened the thing. We haven't done the work to see the more and more that can come with that. You go like, oh, I just got a small home. You got a home. And God gave it to you. What are you going to do with it? God gave you kids. Oh, you don't know my kids, Pastor. I know you, so I know your kids. You could say the same about me. Come on, I got wild ones. They didn't come from nowhere. Like, it's their mom. See, I'm worried that sometimes, even in churches, we are developing ourselves and the people that we are in care for and the things that we're in care for, that when the time to eat the fruit of life and peel back the orange of what looks good on the outside, that all they would see is dry fruit on the inside. I don't think that's what faithfulness looks like. Are you faithful to work, your family, your church? Here's the next one, committed. See, I think a faithful person is committed. This is different than consistent, by the way. It's partnered, but it is different. Because you could be consistent in that you're present, you're there. I think that's good. But are you committed to the journey right here? We talked about that, the God moving mountains and being in the valley, and you can get stuck or you can be committed to the journey. You can be committed to what God is pushing you towards. See, it's easy when things are good to be committed. Like when you get married, you say some vows, right? And for better or worse, for richer or poor, till death do us part. Really easy when you spent 6 hours putting makeup on in a dress with all your gal pals, right? Like, really easy when you're surrounded by all your buddies and family and everybody's like, we got this, like it's gonna be good. And then the honeymoon phase, you're like, guilt-free sex, yeah, like vacations, we got no kids. And then you get a kid and you're like, no. This is what worse was about. No, not at all. You get that bill, you get a diagnosis, you get you actually experience the worst part of the vow. You learn more about the person, things you couldn't have ever known before. And you got to decide, am I still faithful to this person? Good and bad, difficult, like all this is faithfulness. Are you committed to this? Yeah, I got a question. We got to become committed to the promise and the process. It's real easy in the beginning. Come on, New Year's resolutions. This year, I'm gonna be I promise I'm gonna change. But what process are you on to show me that? What process are you on? And your consistency and you being committed will show the type of person you are. The faithfulness, how serious you believe this is. Here's the challenge to some of us today. You've been a part of Dwell. You've heard the opportunities of things like life groups and all of this stuff. And you've gone like, no, I'll get to it. When? Here's what I found out in life is that if you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen. If I told you this Thursday we're going to Disney, I bet you're not going to tell me you got work. And you go like, well, Pastor, that's like Disney versus like talking to friends. Oh, so you mean the one high, cool moment or the consistent positive moment? The thing that can happen every single week. The thing that will actually build you when you're not at Disney, when you're not in the honeymoon phase. The faithful person is committed. You see, you got to ask the question, is the juice worth the squeeze? James, can you help me real quick? Have you guys ever made juice from a juicer? Come on, can you make me some juice real quick? It sucks. James is a strong, do you know how to do? Okay, no, I'm with you. So all you do is you put it on here, and then you squeeze and twist, and juice is going to come out. Try it for me. Okay, this process, New Year's resolution, you're like, I'm gonna do a juice cleanse. Okay, come on, somebody. You're like, or maybe you're like, oh no, I do this for cocktails. Okay, whatever it is. And then so James is a strong guy. Like he's got, first time you got a technique that's beautiful, James. Like you nailed it. Let's do the other orange right here. Get that other one. It's messy. He's got to put work into it. He's got to leverage it. This table's not secure. He's got to balance a lot of things. And at a certain point, you're just kind of like, is the juice worth the squeeze right here? James has just juiced an entire orange, and this is all he got. I mean, it's good. It's there. But come on. Listen, you did all you can do to get the juice out of this orange. This isn't on you. But that's not a glass of orange juice, people. That's kind of a sip. If there's a recipe that requires orange juice, they're not even asking for this amount. Like orange chicken, you need a lot more orange juice than this, okay? So you got to keep juicing oranges. And you got to be committed to getting orange juice. It takes about 3 to 4 oranges, like whole oranges like this, to get an 8-ounce glass of orange juice. Makes you appreciate Tropicana now, doesn't it? Thank you, James. You're good. And you go, to get the whole best oranges, in order to make the recipe, the orange juice that I wanted, Sam, you are going to have to plant a whole tree, and we'll get a gallon. Oh, you didn't know that, did you? You see, I think sometimes God's grace for us is he doesn't tell us how much work it's going to be to get the thing that you're asking for. Because a lot of us, if he told you you're going to be squeezing oranges to get orange juice for a gallon that will only maybe work for a couple days, most of us wouldn't even try. Can I ask you, are you committed to this process? Paul encourages us this way in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 39. I'm going to put it in the Message translation just to give it some oomph to it. It says, but we are not quitters who lose out. We're going to keep making orange juice. Oh no, we'll stay with it and survive, trusting all the way. The fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God, this faith is the firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. This faith in God, this committed to the process, our consistency in our relationship with Him, this is it. It's our handle on what we can't see. The act of faith is what distinguished our ancestors, setting them above the crowd. By faith, we see the world called into existence by God's word. What we see created by what we don't see. Have you stopped before you've seen it? I need a gallon of orange juice. But all I got right now is one orange. What you don't see is the seeds that are inside this orange that he squeezed. It turns out James's next step is to go plant an orange tree and to take care of that garden, knowing that there's a season of waiting to see what God's going to do. Worship team, would you guys come forward? I got this question that we're going to ask in life group this week, and I would love for you guys to come so that we can ask it together and answer it together. Where is one area you can practice faithfulness? Okay? My perfectionist, my type A, okay? You don't need to do everything. Chill out, okay? What's one, and I mean it, one, not one that covers multiple areas. I can be faithful in my family. Stop. Okay? I can be faithful with my wife. Stop. I can be faithful with the dishes. Okay? Just be faithful with the dishes. Just be faithful with one orange. be okay that you don't have a whole tree. You don't have a whole orchard of oranges. And you're like, you got one orange this week. What's one thing that I can be faithful towards? To my students in here, okay? Homework, diligence, listening to your teacher, what's one thing? What's one of those things I'm going to be faithful to? I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be committed. Even if my parents yell at me and I don't feel like I deserved it, I'm going to be committed. I'm going to be faithful, okay? Adults, yeah, you're all nodding your head at that one. Okay, transfer it to your boss, okay? Like, I'm going to be faithful, okay? People aren't after you, okay? And if they are, find a new job. Be faithful to a promised life which is full of peace and other things that we're going to talk about. It's going to be good. Be consistent. Be committed. Are you guys with me today? Here's the thing. I want us to be a church that is taking vitamin C before we need it. You're going to need it, okay? Right now, I really feel like Pastor Natalie and I are stepping into a season of some blessings, and God is answering a lot of prayers that we have been committed and faithful towards. She said 3 years at this church. We've had rooms where it's just 4 people, and we've had rooms where there's like Christmas where we had 85 people in this building. Our building capacity is way lower than 85. But our faithfulness says that there is a bigger room and a more effective church. And so we were saying, God, we're faithful with the 4. We'll be faithful with the 40. You see, could I be faithful with the small? And he says, Aeric and Natalie, my faithful servants, I'll do more. What's that for you guys? Would you guys stand with me? Today, we're going to sing a song about God moving mountains, about him not failing, about him being faithful to us. And if there's ever a season in which you're questioning what God can do, I would love to tell you more about how he's been there for you. Let's sing this one more time.